Leah always played the part, smiled at family dinners, called her mother-in-law Mama Joan. But deep down, she couldn't wait for Joan to be out of the picture. She's holding on to his inheritance, Leah whispered to a friend. He doesn't even know what he's worth. But Joan wasn't naive. She'd built the family business from scratch, and her son Marcus trusted her with everything. One afternoon, Leah caught Joan taking money from the office drawer. Her tone turned sharp. "Is that your money to touch?" Then Marcus walked in. Leah's voice flipped. "Oh, did you need help with something? You only had to ask?" Marcus didn't react, just nodded, and went back to work. A month later, Leah filed for divorce, claimed emotional distress, demanded half. In court, she smiled. "I supported him. I deserve 50%. The judge looked down. "Ma'am, Marcus owns only 2% of the estate. Everything else belongs to his mother. Legally transferred 5 years ago. All signed, all witnessed, all airtight." Leah's eyes widened. "What?" "He never said." Marcus finally spoke. "You married a number, but the name on the account was never yours to chase." She left the courtroom in silence. Marcus walked out with Joan. No smile, no revenge, just loyalty. If you believe real loyalty doesn't need to shout, drop a heart and like this video. He thought the man on the street had nothing to offer until this happened. Every morning, a rich CEO named Mr. Carter walked his daughter to school. They passed the same corner and the same man sitting on the sidewalk. A quiet sign that read, "I'm trying." Mr. Carr always pulled his daughter closer. "Don't talk to him. He should get a job." But one morning, his daughter dropped her bracelet. It rolled into the street. She darted after it, just as a delivery van turned the corner. Her father shouted, but someone else moved first. The man from the sidewalk leapt up, grabbed the girl, and spun her out of the street, just in time. They fell onto the curb together, his arms wrapped around her like a shield. Mr. Carr froze. He ran. Knees hit pavement. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "You just saved my little girl." The man nodded. "I just did what anyone should." That night, Mr. Carr returned to the same street corner. No daughter, no pride, but a job offer and $100,000. If you believe kindness has no status, drop a heart and like this video. It was 5 minutes to closing when Jordan burst into the store. "Please, I just need dress shoes for a job interview tomorrow." The manager, tired and ready to lock up, almost said no, but something about Jordan's voice made him pause. He was soaked from the rain, bike chained outside, eyes exhausted but hopeful. "I've only got $50, Jordan said, holding out crumpled bills. "I don't have a home right now, but this job, it could change things for me and my mom." The manager nodded and pointed to the back. "Pick a pair. Don't worry about the money." Jordan blinked. "You serious?" The man smiled. "Just promise me one thing. Make your mom proud." The next morning, Jordan walked into his interview looking sharp and ready. He got the job. Years passed. Jordan now owned a fashion brand with his name on the front window. His mom had her own apartment, and life finally felt full. One day, he brought her back to that old store, but it was boarded up, empty. Outside, a man sat on the curb, head down. Jordan froze. "Sir, were you the manager here?" The man looked up, eyes tired. "A long time ago." Jordan smiled. "You gave me shoes when I had nothing." He helped the man to his feet. "I'd like to return the favor. You'll never go cold again. I've got a spot for you at my company." Drop a heart if you believe one small act can change a life forever. If you've ever felt like God was silent, watch this. Nico's mom always said, "God answers, just not always right away." But for years, Nico felt nothing. He prayed every night that things would get better, that his dad would come home, that his mom would stop crying in the kitchen. But nothing changed. And slowly, he stopped praying. Until one night, after another long shift, he came home and found an envelope taped to the front door. Inside, a note, in his dad's handwriting. "I saw you walking home last week. You looked strong. You looked like the man I always hoped you'd become. I'm sorry. I'm trying to fix myself so I can come back the right way." At the bottom, one line. "Tell Mom, her prayers were never wasted." Nico looked up, and for the first time in years, he prayed again. If you still believe he hears you, even in silence, drop a heart. If you think your best years are behind you, this is for you. Mr. Lane sat alone every morning at the same cafe table. Black coffee, 2 sugars, quiet. He'd been a teacher for 42 years. Then one day, retirement. No more bells, no more students, just silence. Some days, he wondered if anyone remembered him. Then one morning, a young man walked in, ordered coffee, paused, then said, "Mr. Lane." Mr. Lane looked up. "You taught me in 8th grade. You said one sentence that stuck with me for years." Mr. Lane blinked. "What did I say?" The young man smiled. "You matter more than you know." He pulled out his wallet, and inside was a folded piece of paper with Mr. Lane's name on it. Mr. Lane didn't say a word. He just smiled, because suddenly, he remembered who he was. If you believe the elderly still hold purpose, drop a heart. James prayed hard. He needed that job. He told himself, if I get it, everything will change. The interview went well. He dressed sharp. He spoke confidently. He even whispered a prayer in the lobby, but the call never came. 1 week passed, then 2, then an email. "We've chosen another candidate." James felt crushed. He stared at the ceiling that night and whispered, "Why, God, I needed that." 3 months later, the company shut its doors overnight. Mass layoffs. Everyone lost their jobs. James? He was working somewhere else by then, a job he hadn't even applied for. Someone had just recommended him, and he remembered that prayer, that lobby, that silence. It wasn't rejection, it was redirection. If God's ever closed a door in your life, and you didn't see why until later, drop a heart. Before you wish the pain away, watch this. Tom had it all. A steady job, a home filled with laughter, and someone waiting for him at the door every night. Then, it all disappeared. The company downsized, the bills piled up, and his wife, she left one morning with nothing but a note. For a while, Tom didn't speak much, didn't go out, didn't eat. He'd just sit on the porch, staring at the sky like it owed him something. One day, his neighbor knocked, an old man with kind eyes. "Can you help me fix my fence?" Tom almost said no, but something made him get up. They didn't talk much that day, but afterward, Tom slept better. So the next day, he helped again and again. Weeks passed, and so did the ache. Not all of it, but enough to breathe again. Suffering didn't fix him, but it stripped him down to the part of him that could grow, the quiet part, the kind part, the part that still believed in something more. What happens next will break your heart. Every afternoon at 3 o'clock, Mrs. Adley sat on her porch in the same white rocking chair. She wore the same green cardigan, held the same glass of sweet tea, watched the same sidewalk. Kids rode bikes past her, dogs barked, cars rolled by. She always smiled, but never waved. One neighbor finally asked, "Who are you waiting for?" She smiled faintly. "My son. He used to walk home down this street." "But didn't he?" The neighbor hesitated. She nodded. 15 years ago. Army. "Then why wait?" She looked at the sidewalk. "Because he always said, 1 day I'll surprise you." Comment a heart if you've ever lost a loved one. Mr. Dalton had 2 sons. Eli lit up every room. He cracked jokes, told stories, made people laugh. And then there was Aaron. Soft-spoken, hard-working, never asked for anything. Their father bragged about Eli. "You'll run the business one day," he'd say. He gave him the spotlight, the praise, the rewards. Aaron never said a word, just kept showing up. Then one winter, Mr. Dalton fell sick. Eli was too busy to visit. But Aaron, he was there every day, feeding him, bathing him, reading to him when he couldn't speak. Weeks passed. Mr. Dalton whispered, "Why didn't I see it sooner?" Aaron took his hand and said, "I didn't need you to see me. I love you for who you are." His father wept, not for his illness, but for the years he missed, loving the son who never stopped loving him. Drop a heart if you believe the quiet ones often love the loudest. Noah was only 10, and he had just $5 to his name, straight out of the piggy bank. It was supposed to buy lunch for the week, but at Sunday church, something stirred in his heart. Give it. He stared at the bill. His stomach was already growling, but he folded it up and dropped it in the donation basket. No big prayer, no attention, just quiet faith. After church, he walked home. Shoes a size too small. Wind picking up. At his doorstep, an envelope, no name, just taped to the door just for Noah. Inside was a note. "God sees you. Keep trusting him," and $100. Noah looked up at the sky, eyes full of tears, and whispered, "I knew you were listening." If you believe God honors quiet faith, even from a child, drop a heart in the comments. Lena noticed a boy sitting alone behind the school. He looked hungry. No lunch, no backpack, nothing. She sat beside him. "You okay?" He nodded slowly, but his eyes were on her lunch bag. Without a word, she handed it to him. "Here, I'm not that hungry anyway." He smiled like he never done before, and she walked away. 15 minutes later, an announcement. "Lena Carter, please report to the office." She thought she was in trouble, but when she walked in, the boy from earlier was standing there. Beside him, a woman with tears in her eyes. "I'm his mom," she said. "We just moved here. I lost my job, and you're the first person who was kind to him. You never know how far one small action can go." Drop a heart in the comments if you believe kindness matters. Not every cry for help is fake, but not everyone is real either. Ryan was walking to his car when a girl approached, out of breath. "Please, I lost my phone. Can I use yours to call my mom?" She looked scared. He hesitated, but handed it over. She stepped back, started dialing, then suddenly ran. Ryan shouted, chasing her through the lot. She screamed, "He's trying to take my phone!" People stopped. One woman pulled out her phone to record. Cops showed up fast. Ryan tried to explain, but the girl sobbed. "He's lying!" The officer turned to Ryan. "Lucky for you," he said, "we pulled your plates before we walked over." Then he held up a phone. Ryan's phone. "I watched the whole thing on your dash cam. Guess she didn't know your car was recording." The girl froze. The crowd went silent. She was arrested. Ryan looked at the officer and smiled. Sometimes being a tech nerd pays off. Always be kind, but always be smart. This story will warm your heart. Every morning, a homeless woman named Mia sat outside the same cafe. Same spot, same silence. She never begged, never asked for money, just stared through the window, watching people eat, talk, laugh. Most walked past. Some left coffee. No one ever spoke to her. Until one rainy morning, a young man stepped outside with an umbrella. "Why here?" he asked. She looked up. "That table," she said, pointing inside. "My husband proposed to me there. This is where I felt seen." The young man stood in silence. Then he turned, walked in, and spoke to the manager. The next day, a new table stood outside, with a sign that read, "Reserved for Mia," and a warm croissant beside it. Because some people don't need a handout. They just need to feel remembered. Drop a heart if you believe in kindness. This boy ran up to his dad, eyes wide. "Dad, I found a wallet on the ground." Inside? Hundreds of dollars. His dad smiled. "Well, you know what to do, son." The boy hesitated but nodded. He ran to the nearest park and he found a man searching the park looking panicked. The boy reluctantly went up to the man. "Sir, is this your wallet?" the boy said. A man turned around, checking his pockets frantically. "Yes, that's mine." He opened it. Everything was still there. Stunned, he looked at the boy. "Most kids would have kept it, but you did the right thing." The man pulled out $500 and handed it to the boy. The boy's eyes widened. "Are you serious?" The man smiled. "Your honesty deserves a reward. Would you have returned it? Drop a heart if you believe in honesty." This story could make a grown man cry. A young man walked past the same homeless man every day. The man never begged, never asked for anything, just sat there, watching. One day, the young man finally stopped and handed him a meal. The homeless man smiled. "You're the first person to do that in years." Days later, the young man's landlord knocked. "Rent is due. No more delays." He panicked. He had nothing left. Then, a knock at the door. The same homeless man, now in a suit. "Pack your things. You don't live here anymore." Confused, the young man asked, "What do you mean?" The man grinned. "You bought me a meal. Now I'm buying you a house. Drop a heart if you believe in kindness." When Adam was 10, his dad passed away. At the funeral, his uncle handed him a box. "It's your dad's wishes that you don't open this. Not until you're ready." So Adam kept it. Through high school, through college, through everything. Some days he'd stare at it. Other days he forgot it was there. He told himself, "When I'm ready, I'll know." One rainy afternoon at 30 years old, he opened it. It felt right. Inside was a note. "There's no perfect moment, just this one. I'm proud of you, son." Underneath, photos Adam had never seen, of them fishing, laughing, and a voice recorder. He pressed play, his dad's voice shaky but happy. "Hey, buddy. I'll always love you, and I will always be proud of you. You're the best thing to ever happen to me. Keep being you." If this story hit your heart, drop a heart in the comments. If there's someone you haven't thanked, don't wait. For 32 years, Mrs. Lynn opened the front doors of the same school. Every morning before sunrise, rain or shine, she swept the floors, wiped the windows, put little flowers in the teacher's lounge, and no one ever asked who did it. She knew every student's name, but no one knew hers. Then one Friday, a student saw her packing up a cardboard box. "Are you leaving?" he asked. She smiled softly. "Today's my last day." That afternoon, she walked through the hallway one last time and found something waiting. Every locker had a sticky note. "Thank you, Mrs. Lynn," in different handwriting, hundreds of them. She stood there silent. For the first time in 32 years, she felt seen. Drop a heart for the people who show up every day. Miles was always moving. Early meetings, late nights, even lunch was eaten while walking. He passed the same park every day, and every day the same old man sat on the same bench, doing nothing, just watching. One day, Miles dropped his phone. The old man picked it up. "Thanks," Miles said, rushing off. But the man asked, "Ever wonder what you're running from?" Miles froze. He sat down on a bench. 5 minutes, 10, the wind, birds, leaves crunching. Then the old man said, "Life doesn't reward you for skipping the good parts." The next day, Miles brought coffee, sat for 20 minutes, and he's still not sure if that man was ever real. But he never walked past the bench again. If you believe in enjoying life, like this video, and drop a heart in the comments. In 10th grade, John was awkward, always doodling in his notebook. One day, the teacher asked, "What do you want to be?" John said, "I want to design tech that helps kids who can't speak." Laughter, whispers, even the teacher chuckled. "Let's focus on passing algebra first." John said nothing. He just stopped raising his hand. But every night, he kept drawing, kept building. 10 years later, same school. John walked in wearing a suit, a full crowd, media, faculty. He was invited back, not as a student, but as the guy who built the very tech he once described. The tech that now helps thousands of kids speak for the first time. He looked out at the crowd, his old teacher in the front row, tears in her eyes. "All I ever needed," he said, "was one person to believe in me. Turns out, that person was me." If you've ever been underestimated, like this video and drop a heart in the comments. If you're a father, you can relate to this. Leo's dad wasn't mean, just quiet. He worked, ate, watched the news, never yelled, but never said, "I love you," either. One day, Leo got hurt at practice, sprained his wrist. Not a big deal. But Dad showed up at the ER. He sat there quietly, didn't ask questions, just waited. As they were leaving, Leo joked, "Thought you didn't care?" His dad paused, looked right at him. "I care more than I know how to say." Then he reached into his coat pocket and handed Leo an old photo. It was a picture of baby Leo on his dad's shoulders, on the back, in faded ink. "I love this boy more than life itself." If you believe love is sometimes quiet, like, subscribe, and drop a heart in the comments. Eli was walking home when he saw a tiny squirrel, barely moving, curled near the sidewalk. Its leg looked hurt. Kids passed by, adults too. But Eli stopped. He took off his hoodie, wrapped it gently, brought it home. His parents told him it wouldn't survive, but Eli stayed up all night, feeding it drops of water, whispering, "You're safe now." Weeks passed. The squirrel healed, strong enough to climb, to jump, to live, but Eli didn't post it, didn't brag. He just opened the window and let it go. It paused on the sill, looked back, then disappeared into the trees. Because sometimes the kindest deeds don't need to be seen. If you would have done the same, like this video and drop a heart in the comments. You never notice the small things until they stop. Every morning, Ava found the same thing on the kitchen table, her favorite mug, steam rising, just the way she liked it. Her dad never said much. He'd just sip his coffee across from her, reading the paper. She never said thank you. She just drank it. It was their routine. Then one morning, no mug, no coffee, no dad. Just a sticky note. "Gone fishing. Be back by lunch." She smiled until lunch passed. Then dinner, then midnight. He came home the next day safe. Nothing happened. Except now, she makes the mug for him. Every morning. Because one day, you won't get another cup. So don't waste the one in front of you. If this made you feel something, like subscribe and drop a heart in the comments. Every morning, Claire packed her husband's lunch. Same sandwich, same note inside. "Love you. Have a great day." He never mentioned it, never said thank you. Just grabbed the bag and rushed out the door. One day, she forgot. No sandwich, no note. That night, he walked in holding a takeout bag. Quiet. Then he asked, "Are you okay?" Claire looked confused. "Why?" He held up the jacket he wore every day. Inside the pocket were dozens of folded notes, all saved. "I read them on hard days," he said. "I just never knew how to say thank you." If you believe small things matter most, like, subscribe, and drop a heart in the comments. If you love dogs, watch this. Every evening, Mason took the same walk, same sidewalk, same time. Always with Max, his golden retriever. Max would tug toward one house, every day, tail wagging like crazy. An old man sat on the porch there, always tossing Max a treat. Didn't say much, just smiled. One day, the porch was empty. No man, no smile, no treat. Mason tried to pull Max away, but Max sat, waiting. A week passed, then 2. Still, Max sat, same spot. Finally, Mason left a treat on the porch. Then, another. Until one morning, a note appeared. "Thank you. I didn't think anyone noticed I was gone. If you love dogs, drop a heart in the comments and visit our channel for more stories that stay with you." Before you ignore the little things, watch this. Greg was always busy. Emails, meetings, noise. Even at home, his phone never left his hand. Every night, his daughter would say, "Look, Daddy, I made this for you." A drawing, a card, a tiny paper heart. He'd smile, say, "That's great, sweetie." Then he'd go back to scrolling. One night, she left a note on his pillow. "Since you're always too busy, I'll just stop showing you." Greg froze. He looked around, her room, her toys, and the small pile of art she made just for him. The next day, his phone stayed in the drawer. And when she said, "Look what I made," he got down on one knee and said, "Show me everything." If you believe the little moments matter, drop a heart in the comments. If you do the same thing every day, this might surprise you. Every morning, David stopped at the same coffee cart. Medium coffee, 2 creams. He always handed the barista a $5 tip and said, "Hope today treats you well." For years, same routine, same smile, same quiet kindness. He never thought much of it. One morning, the cart wasn't there. A note sat taped to the pole. "To the man with the kind eyes and warm words, you gave me hope when I had none. Today, I start my first day at my dream job. Thank you for seeing me." David stood there, holding a coffee from somewhere else. But it didn't taste the same. If you believe small habits can leave big marks, like subscribe and drop a heart, this story could make a grown man cry. Every morning, John walked past the same woman on 8th Street. She never begged, never said a word, just sat quietly, watching the world go by. One day, he stopped, offered her a warm sandwich. She looked up, surprised. "You're the first person to do that in years," she said softly. A few days later, John's landlord came knocking. "Rent's due. No more delays." He froze. He had nothing left. Then another knock. The same woman, now in a suit. She smiled. "Pack your things. You don't live here anymore." John stared, confused. "What do you mean?" She grinned. "You gave me a meal. Now I'm giving you a home." If you believe kindness always finds its way back, like subscribe and drop a heart in the comments. Check our channel for more powerful stories. Before you walk past someone in need, watch this. Ryan was in a rush. His train was already pulling in, but near the station bench, he saw a little boy on his knees, crayons scattered everywhere. The box had spilled. People passed without a glance. Ryan paused. "I can't miss this train," he thought, but his feet turned back anyway. He knelt down, helped pick up every crayon. The boy looked up. "You're the only one who helped." Ryan missed his train, but he didn't feel late. Sometimes the smallest choice makes the biggest difference. If you believe in helping people, like, subscribe, and drop a heart in the comments. Visit our channel for more inspiring stories that stay with you. Liam sat in the same spot every day at lunch, corner table. No one ever joined him. He didn't mind. Not really. But one day, he noticed a folded note on the empty seat beside him. It read, "If you ever need someone to sit with, I'm across the room. Maya." He looked up. A girl smiled and waved from a table nearby. Liam didn't move that day, but the next, he walked over, sat down, said nothing, but smiled. Years later at their wedding, Maya told the crowd, "He was never really alone. He just didn't know someone cared." If you believe even one kind gesture can change a life, like subscribe and drop a heart in the comments. Before you throw something away, watch this. Eli found an old toy truck at a garage sale. Scratched up, missing a wheel. Most people walked by, but not Eli. He gave the seller $1 and smiled. At home, he cleaned it, fixed the wheel, and made it look brand new. A week later, he gave it to his little brother. "Wow, is this for me?" The boy beamed. That broken toy became someone's treasure. Not everything needs to be new, just given a little love. Like subscribe and drop a heart if you believe in second chances, and visit our channel for longer inspiring stories. Would you rather rush through life or enjoy every moment? Every day, an old man sat on a park bench, watching people rush by. A young man asked, "Why do you sit here all day?" The old man smiled. "I'm not wasting time. I'm reliving the best moments of my life." The sunsets, the laughter, the love. He wasn't waiting for the future. He was cherishing what had already made life beautiful, like subscribe and drop a heart and visit our channel for longer form stories. He had everything, except what mattered most. John spent his whole life chasing money. Late nights, missed birthdays. He promised his family, "One day I'll have time." One day never came. Lying in a hospital bed, he finally asked for his kids. They were too busy. The house he built, the wealth he earned. It all felt empty, because the people he loved weren't there anymore. Don't wait until it's too late. Like, subscribe and drop a heart and visit our channel for longer form stories. Would you work your whole life for someone else's future? Mr. Thompson was a school janitor for 40 years. People ignored him, No one knew his name. When he passed, the entire town was shocked. He had secretly saved millions and donated every penny to scholarships. A lifetime of sweeping floors, fixing leaks, and working in silence, all to give kids a chance at a better life. Some heroes wear suits, others carry a mop. If you believe in hard work and kindness, like, subscribe, and drop a heart. Visit our channel for longer-form stories like this one. One small act of kindness can change a life forever. A rich man walked past a boy selling flowers on the street. The boy begged, "Please, sir, just one flower." But the man scoffed and kept walking. Decades later, the rich man was in a hospital needing urgent surgery. The doctor walked in, smiling. "You don't remember me, do you?" It was the flower boy. The man's eyes filled with tears. The boy he ignored was now the man saving his life. Do you believe in kindness? Like, subscribe, and drop a heart. More stories on our channel. If you still have your parents, don't make this mistake. James was always too busy to call his mom. "I'll do it tomorrow," he'd tell himself. One day, his phone rang. His mom. He sighed and let it go to voicemail. He never got another call. At her funeral, he found a stack of letters she had written but never sent. In each one, she told him how proud she was, how much she loved him, how she wished he had more time for her. James finally picked up the phone. But this time, there was no one left to call. If you love your parents, like, subscribe, and comment a heart. I watched my son at lunch as he sat next to a boy who always ate plain bread. Then, to my horror, he grabbed the bread, threw it on the ground, and stomped on it. "Get some real food, loser," he sneered. The boy quietly picked it up. I rushed over to scold my son, until I saw him return with a warm lunch. "Here, take this," he said. For a moment, I felt proud. Then he added, "On one condition, kiss my shoes." Laughter erupted as phones recorded everything. That night, my son came home, grinning. "Dad, my phone's blowing up. Can I get money to upgrade to the new phone?" I looked at him, took his phone, and smashed it. "I saw you at school. You are a bully. Fix that before asking for anything ever again." If you agree, comment, and share this with a friend. A little boy named Max loved drawing. He used whatever scraps of paper he could find, sketching worlds that didn't exist, until one day, his only pencil broke. His mom couldn't afford a new one, so he just stopped drawing. Weeks later, an old man at the park saw Max staring at a blank page. Without a word, he handed him a brand new sketchbook and a fancy set of pencils. "Keep drawing," he whispered, and walked away. Years passed. Max became a famous artist. One day, he hosted a special art gallery dedicated to the person who changed his life. But when he tried to find the old man, no one in town knew who he was. One moment, one person. That's all it takes to change a life forever. Who will you help today? Drop a heart if you love helping others, and subscribe for more videos like this one. A boy was riding his bike when he saw an old man struggling to carry his groceries. People walked past. No one stopped. He hesitated. "Should I help?" His friends laughed. "Come on, just leave it." But something told him to stop. He got off his bike, ran over, and helped the old man carry the bags. The man smiled. "Thank you, son." No one else even looked at me. He reached into his bag and handed the boy an old, folded lottery ticket. "I don't need this. Maybe you'll have better luck." That night, the numbers were called. It was the winning ticket. The boy won $1 million. Would you have stopped to help? Drop a heart if you believe in helping others. A boy sits on the school steps, arms crossed, staring at the ground. A classmate walks by. "What's wrong?" The boy sighs. "Everyone at school has nice shoes. Mine are old and falling apart." The classmate looks at the shoes, worn, with holes in the toes. "That's rough, man." He shrugs and walks off. The boy kicks at a rock, frustrated. "I just want to fit in." That afternoon, he walks home, dragging his feet. Then, he sees it. A homeless kid sitting on a bench. No shoes, just socks. The boy stops. The homeless kid is rubbing his feet, wincing in pain. He looks up and smiles. "Nice kicks." The boy hesitates, then slowly looks down at his own shoes, holes and all. He looks back at the boy's bare feet. Without a word, he takes off his shoes and hands them over. The homeless boy stares, eyes wide. "Well, what are you doing?" The boy just smiles. "They're old anyway." The boy walks home barefoot. For the first time that day, he doesn't care what anyone thinks. Drop a heart if you are grateful for what you have. A boy and his two friends were talking about their dads. The first friend says, "My dad's rich. He buys me anything I want." The second friend says, "Well, my dad's super tall and handsome." Then the friends turn to the boy. "What about your dad?" There's a hesitation. Then quietly. He can't walk. The friends burst into laughter. The quiet one clenches fists and storms off. That night, the boy walks up to his dad, sitting in his wheelchair, a scar stretching across his face. "Why do you have to look like that?" His dad smiles. "Tough day, huh?" There's an eye roll, then silence. Days pass. The mom arrives home, face pale. "Your dad is in the hospital." There's a scoff. "That man is not my dad." Tears fill her eyes. "When you were little, our house caught fire. Your dad jumped from the second floor, carrying you. He never walked again after that. Drop a heart if you love your parents." Ethan sat at the table, exhausted. His mother, Mary, stood in the kitchen, staring at the microwave. "Mom, your tea is ready." He sighed. She looked at him, confused. "Oh, I was making tea?" Ethan clenched his jaw. This was the third time today. "Yes, Mom. You put the water in 5 minutes ago." She frowned. "Oh, I don't remember." He sighed, trying to stay calm. "It's okay, Mom." She smiled. "You're so kind. Just like my son. You remind me of him." Ethan's heart stopped. "Mom, I am your son." She looked at him for a long time. Then a single tear rolled down her cheek. "I know," she whispered. "I just forget sometimes." Ethan swallowed hard, holding her hand. "Patience is love. Drop a heart if you'll cherish every moment with your loved ones. Before you walk past someone in need, watch this." Jake was late for work. Again. As he rushed past the coffee shop, he saw a little girl struggling to pick up apples from the ground. They had fallen from her basket, rolling everywhere. People walked past, barely noticing. He hesitated. "I don't have time for this," he thought, but something told him to stop. He bent down, helping her gather the apples. She looked up with big, grateful eyes. "Thank you, sir," she whispered. Jake smiled and ran off. He was late. His boss was waiting. But when he got to work, something strange happened. His boss smiled. "You're finally on time today." Jake was confused until he checked his watch. It was 5 minutes slow. That tiny good deed? Maybe it was just luck, or maybe it was something more. You never know how kindness comes back to you. Drop a heart if you believe in good karma. This is incredible. A little boy was running home from school when he saw a lost puppy. It was shivering in the rain, too weak to walk. He picked it up and carried it home, wrapping it in his old sweater. His mom shook her head. "We can't keep it, honey. We don't have enough food for ourselves." But the boy didn't give up. He shared his dinner every night, even when his stomach grumbled. One day, the puppy was gone. The boy searched everywhere, calling out, but it never came back. Years passed. The boy, now a young man, was walking home late at night when footsteps followed him. He turned. 3 men surrounded him. "Give us your wallet," one growled. Then, out of nowhere, a huge dog leaped at them, growling fiercely. The men ran. The dog turned back to him, wagging its tail. It had the same warm brown eyes. It was the puppy. Some kindness. Always comes back. Drop a heart if you believe in kindness. Here's proof. One small act can change everything. A young boy sat alone in the school cafeteria, staring at his empty tray. No lunch, no money, just hunger. At the next table, a girl noticed. She hesitated, then stood up, walked over, and slid her tray in front of him. "Here, take this," she said, smiling. The boy's eyes widened. "Really?" "Yeah, enjoy." Years later, that same girl lay in a hospital bed, terrified. The doctor walked in, clipboard in hand. "Don't worry," he said with a smile. "You once gave me lunch. Now, I get to give you life." One small act of kindness can change everything. Drop a heart if you believe in kindness. There was a boy who got angry. A lot. Every time something upset him, he would yell, stomp, and break things. His father had an idea. "Every time you're mad, hammer a nail into this fence." At first, the boy hammered dozens of nails every day. But over time, he got tired. It took too much effort. He started thinking before getting angry. One day, he stopped hammering. He told his father, "I'm not angry anymore." His father smiled. "Now pull out every nail." When he finished, the father pointed at the fence. "See these holes? Your anger is gone, but the damage stays, just like in people's hearts." From that day on, the boy never lashed out again. Drop a heart if you've ever been hurt by words. Before you ignore someone today, watch this. A little boy stood outside a bakery, staring at the fresh bread inside. His clothes were old, his face thin from hunger. A man walked past, stopped, and handed him a warm loaf. The boy's eyes lit up. "Thank you, sir," he said, running home. Years passed. The man grew old and sick, barely able to afford his hospital bills. Then a young doctor walked in. "You probably don't remember me," he said, smiling, "but I remember you." That night, the bill was paid in full. The note read, "Paid with 1 loaf of bread. Kindness always comes back. Drop a heart if you believe in it. Before you judge someone, watch this till the end." A man was late for work when he saw an old woman struggling to carry groceries across the street. He hesitated. Help her and be late or keep walking? He sighed and helped. That night he lost his job, fired for being late. Years later, he sat in an interview, desperate for work. The CEO walked in, stared at him, and smiled. "You don't remember me, do you?" It was the old woman's son. "You helped my mother when no one else would. The job is yours." Kindness always comes back when you least expect it. Drop a heart if you believe in good karma. You won't believe what this kid did. One night, a little boy knocked on his neighbor's door holding a small piggy bank. "Please help my mom," he said. "She's really sick." The doctor inside sighed. "I don't work for free, kid. Go home." The boy shook his piggy bank. "I have money. Please." Curious, the doctor followed him. Inside, he saw a frail woman, barely breathing. He checked her pulse. She needed urgent help. Without thinking, the doctor rushed her to the hospital. Hours later, she was stable. The doctor asked, "Why did you come to me, kid?" The boy smiled. "Because my dad always said you were a good man." The doctor froze. "Who was your dad?" The boy pointed to a picture. It was the firefighter who saved the doctor's life years ago. Sometimes, kindness comes full circle. Drop a heart if you believe in good people.
Before you judge someone, watch this. A young boy stood at the bakery window, staring at a fresh loaf of bread. His stomach ached. He hadn't eaten in 2 days. He took a deep breath and ran inside. His hands shook as he grabbed the loaf and dashed for the door. But the owner, a tall, bearded man in a blue apron, grabbed his wrist. "Stealing?" the man said. "Why?" Tears filled the boy's eyes. "I'm just hungry." The owner sighed. He didn't call the police. Instead, he placed more food in a bag and handed it to the boy. Years later, the bakery owner collapsed in the street. A doctor rushed to help him, a young man with short brown hair, wearing a crisp white coat. "Sir, don't worry," the doctor said. "You once saved my life. Now I'll save yours." Drop a heart if this story moved you.
This story could make a grown man cry. A man walked into a fast food place. "How much for a burger?" he asks. $6, the cashier replies. He checks his wallet. Only $3. His heart sinks. But then, "Don't worry," the cashier says with a warm smile. "I got you." She pulls out her own money and covers the rest. The man's eyes widen. He hesitates, then reaches into his backpack. He pulls out $1,000 from his backpack. "This is for you," he says. The cashier gasps and cries. "I wasn't sure how I was going to feed my kids this week. How can I ever repay you?" She says, "Pay it forward." The man says, "Kindness always comes back to you. Drop a heart if you believe in good people." You won't believe what this boy did. Liam was the kind of kid who didn't care about anyone but himself. One day, his mom gave him a dog, but not just any dog. This one had only one leg. "Are you serious? This thing is useless," Liam scoffed. He barely fed it, never played with it, and ignored it. Until one stormy night, Liam heard barking. Non-stop. Annoying. He stormed outside, ready to yell, but then he froze. The one-legged dog was dragging itself toward the road. There, inches from disaster, lay his baby sister, just seconds away from being hit by a speeding truck. The dog had saved her life. Liam dropped to his knees, guilt washing over him. He picked up the dog for the first time, holding it tight. "I'm so sorry. I never deserved you." From that night on, Liam changed. The dog wasn't a burden anymore. It was his best friend. A little love can change everything. Drop a heart if you agree. Before you walk past someone in need, watch this. A man was rushing home in the rain when he saw an old man struggling to push his cart. The old man's hands were shaking. His clothes were soaked. "Please, can you help me?" the old man asked. The man hesitated. He was late for dinner, but something in the old man's eyes made him stop. He grabbed the cart and helped push it to the man's tiny home. The old man smiled. Thank you, son. People don't stop for me anymore. Years passed. The man forgot about that rainy night, but one day, his business hit rock bottom. Bills piled up, debt collectors called non-stop. He was out of options until he got a letter. Your debt has been cleared, paid in full. Confused, he rushed to the bank. Who did this? The banker handed him a note. The kindness you showed me long ago has finally come back to you. One small act can change everything. Would you have stopped to help? A boy stood outside a luxury car showroom, staring at the supercars inside. His eyes sparkled with dreams. Suddenly, a wealthy man stepped out and sneered. Get out of here, boy! This isn't a place for beggars. The boy said nothing as he clenched his fists and walked away and whispered to himself, one day, I'll prove him wrong. Years passed, and that boy became a millionaire. But he never forgot that day outside the showroom, and today, he decided it was time to answer. He came to the showroom in his old beggar dress he used to wear in childhood. The security guard stopped him. You don't belong here! The man smiled and replied, I'm not just here to buy a car. I'm here to buy the entire showroom. Inside, the same wealthy man saw him and mocked. Why is this beggar here? The man in his same old beggar dress he used to wear in childhood. Remember me? I'm the boy you called a beggar. Now I bought this showroom. As he drove out in his dream car, proving success is the best answer. You won't believe how one small act changed everything. A man was rushing home in the rain when he saw a little boy shivering on the sidewalk. The boy was crying, holding a soaked piece of paper. I lost my mom, he whispered. The man hesitated. He was already late, but something told him to stop. He knelt down. Let's find her together. He took the boy's hand and walked block by block. Minutes later, a woman sprinted toward them, tears in her eyes. My baby, she cried. Years passed. One day, that same man collapsed at work. Heart failure. At the hospital, the doctor stepped in. Don't worry, sir. I got you. It was the boy. The surgery was a success. The man woke up and the doctor smiled. You once saved my life. Now it's my turn. One small act can change everything. This is amazing. A man was walking home in the rain when he saw an old woman struggling to carry her groceries. People passed by, but he stopped. He carried her bags all the way to her house. She smiled and said, Thank you, young man. I don't have much, but I'll never forget this. Years later, that same man was lying in a hospital, unable to pay for surgery. Then, the doctor walked in. It was her son. No charge, the doctor said. My mother taught me to repay kindness. Kindness always comes back. Drop a heart if you believe in good deeds. Before you ignore a stranger, watch this. A boy was walking home alone when he saw an old man sitting on the sidewalk holding a sign. I just need a meal today. People walked by, ignoring him. Some even laughed. The boy checked his pockets, only a few coins. He hesitated, but then ran into a nearby store. Minutes later, he handed the old man a warm sandwich and a bottle of water. The man's eyes filled with tears. Son, you just saved my life. Years later, that same boy, now a grown man, walked into an interview for his dream job. The CEO looked up, smiled, and said, I remember you. You're hired. Drop a heart if you believe in kindness. A man sat alone in a restaurant, watching a young waiter rush from table to table. Then suddenly, the waiter tripped, sending food flying everywhere. The restaurant went silent. The manager stormed over, furious. You're done here! Get out! The young waiter's face turned red as he stammered, Please, sir, I need this job. But the manager wasn't listening. Then, the man who had been watching stood up. I'll pay for everything, he said, handing over his credit card. The manager hesitated, but let the boy stay. Years later, that same man was rushed to the hospital, barely breathing. His family prayed for a miracle. Then, a doctor stepped into the room. It was him, the waiter from years ago. Don't worry, sir, the doctor smiled. Tonight, I take care of you. A father and son walked into a toy store. The little boy's eyes lit up. There it was, the red remote control car he had wanted forever. Dad, please! The boy begged. The father smiled and picked up the box, but then his face changed. He checked his pockets. Empty. He had left his wallet at home. I'm so sorry, buddy. Next time, I promise. The boy's face fell. A man behind them had been watching. He picked up the same car and walked toward the register. But instead of buying it for himself, he walked over and handed it to the little boy. Here, kid. I hope this makes your day. The boy's eyes widened. Thank you, sir. The father was speechless. I'll pay you back. The man shook his head. Just pay it forward someday. Fast forward. Years later. A teenage boy stood outside a gas station watching a man struggle. His card kept declining. His face looked just like his father's did that day in the toy store. Without thinking, the boy pulled out his wallet. "Here, sir. I hope this makes your day." The man looked at him, stunned. "Thank you. You have no idea how much this means." As he walked away, the boy smiled to himself. Sometimes, a small kindness can come full circle.